Hey, what's going on, Commish? I see you, man. Yeah, it's the Commish.
I want to do the YouTube at first.
Because you just started.
It's supposed to be ready.
I
It's
didn't
supposed
stop.
to be ready on
I didn't
there.
stop.
It's supposed to be
I didn't stop.
ready. I'm sorry. All right,
Here we
baby.
go. 5, 4, 3, 2.
See, I've been, you guys listening on YouTube and everything, you missing out on some drama in the background. It's all good. It's not like anyone's gonna get fired or nothing like that. But my boy Roland Martin, I be checking out how he be talking to his people, man, and people be talking about me. I ain't like Roland.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not like Roland. So it's not like somebody's gonna knock a Snickers bar out of my hand or anything like that. But this is what we're talking about here on the Commish Radio Show. We were talking about economic development, the EDC. We were talking about the developers. In Dallas, there's always a deal with the developers and city politicians. And sometimes city politicians even go to jail for making deals with developers. So the situation that exists here in DeSoto, I understand that you've had companies that go out of business to close out. I think it was Albertsons is closed out in Grand Prairie. They closed out in DeSoto too as well.
They did. Yes, they did. Albertsons closed. They changed their business model. Basically, Randall's is the parent company.
Right, which is Tom Thumb.
Right, Tom Thumb, and we have a Tom Thumb in the city of DeSoto as
So
well.
they were competing against each other.
Well, they were getting good business at one point. So in this day and age, in the day and age of people purchasing online and things like that, it's just a lot of competition. You have them, you have Walmart, you have Aldi's, and so that's just a lot of competition. But needless to say, once they closed, that was a wake-up call for a big segment of our community. A group of citizens have now come together. They've galvanized, they've organized, and they've literally gone after developers trying to get others interested into being a part of our community.
Now, that's my point that I was making. Developers have a responsibility to the community to build the community, as opposed to just developing land and then leaving. Can you work with the developers to get the Albertsons, the spaces filled back? Because in my neighborhood, the Albertsons are still vacant, and we're concerned about what they're going to put there.
And our community is extremely concerned about what's about to come into the space. They are, and they've worked really hard. And I've been tracking with this community of people who are going after different businesses, but at the same time too, we as a city, we have the responsibility of doing the same through our EDC. Okay. But can we work with developers? We can. That particular company, management company, they decided to sell the building. And so at one point they were selling the building, then they said that they were leasing the space, but as I understand it, someone has it under contract, and we're just waiting to see what that now will look like. However, can we work with developers? We can work with developers, but we want developers who want to be in our community, not simply to be the landowner, not simply to be the one to, okay, we'll just let anything in. If you have a space that needs to be filled as a developer, we want you to aggressively find something that our community wants. So now what can we do as a city? I think as a city, what we can do is to start to bring these commercial brokers in, the developers in, and then start just having those community conversations with them, making certain that they are part of the table with our community. We need to do that, and we need to do that in an aggressive way, just so that they know that we are interested in our community. We don't want just anything. We don't want a space going out. Right now, Top 5 is closed down because of something that needs to happen because of the building management, okay? And Top 5 is one of our premier barbecue spots in DeSoto, and we have many, and they're all very good. However, now that's impacting their business. And so we want developers and management companies who want to take care of our city, because we have that level of pride and we want that. And people are walking around wondering, okay, now why is this happening and what's going on, okay? And so with that, in terms of attraction, we have a lot of work to do in terms of our branding, dealing with the perceptions about our city, which includes the schools, which now includes our community, who people think are in our community. For some of those retailers, once they're in our community, or the people who can make decisions, once they see what's in our community, realize, oh wow, this is a nice community. Oh wow, this is a beautiful community.
I've always looked at DeSoto as being a nice community.
Yes.
I've always looked at DeSoto being a beautiful, more than just a bedroom community, but a nice community in which African Americans can excel. So what is the brand that other people are seeing?
So, as far as where we are right now, we're at a pinnacle of deciding who we are, okay? And so one of the things that I brought to the table was to make certain that we had a common language around what does it mean, what does branding mean, and how can we get to the place of understanding who we are as a collective. And so how things are moved and done in the city of DeSoto, as far as the council is concerned, when we bring new ideas to the table, well, let me start with, when I first got into this seat, you know, I thought, okay, I'm gonna, you know, go dump my, you know, big basket of ideas to our city council. Well, no, they already had a plan that was moving. And so the places where you can interject that is when we vision for our business plan and when we talk about things at our winter retreat that we want to see move forward. And so one of the things I brought forward was, okay, I wanted us to have a common language about understanding who we were, but are in branding. And so we did have but a position posted in marketing. That position did not get filled. We got a communication person. We need a person who knows how to market.
You don't
the
have a
city.
communication person?
We have a communication person, but that came as a result of the job description going out for marketing. Okay, so we do not have a marketing director. So I want to continue to push for us
How
to
long
have
has
that
that been
position.
going on?
This past year, over the past year, the position was up mid-year last year, and so our new communications director, he's in place right now, and so he's literally working. However, we didn't get who we needed for the marketing side. Marketing and communications are two different things, two totally different things. So when it comes to selling our city, you know, we do need that type of direction. If we don't get that, then I'll push for us doing an RFQ, a PR firm.
Now, what's an RFQ?
I'm sorry.
She's speaking in acronym, folks.
I am.
Okay, RFQ.
I will. When a company or a city or organization puts a request or a bid out, say, hey, we want you to bid on this particular project. So I think it's worth us looking into pulling in a company, a professional PR firm, a professional marketing firm to help us with that aspect of our city. We have a lot of greatness in our city. We have great people who live in our city. We have great homes in our city. We have a lot of talent in our city.
Now, what about the police force?
Our police force. So with our police force, we like many police forces throughout this metroplex and this country, a lot of people are not going into policing. And so we have been down to as many officers as 17. And that's huge for a city of our size. That's significant. However, we have raised their incomes. So there was a raise that was put forth this past December. And with that, we're hoping that will help fill in the gaps, meaning people choose to come to DeSoto not because, in terms of police officers, not in terms of, you know, because the pay isn't good. You know, so let's take that off the table. I think it can be better. Other cities, in the outreach work that I do, other cities are paying their officers. We're commensurate for our area, but City of Plano is starting their officers out at $67,700. And so right now, a lot of cities are borrowing officers. They're moving from place to place,
Right.
because people are not going into those
So
into
what
those homes.
are you paying your officers at?
Right now, we just given them a $10,000 boost. So the exact figure I don't remember, but we've given them a $10,000 boost in pay, and we're looking for those certified TCO officers. They're already certified, and they can just come in and keep going.
Police force had been under some criticism. The police chief, how long has he been there?
The police chief, I'm not certain how long the police chief has been there. They have been under criticism. There have been a incident that has, has elevated our department, has shined a light on them. Now, I know that's an ongoing investigation.
So you can't talk about it.
Well, there are aspects that I can't talk about, but what I can talk about from...
But I had to bring it up.
Yeah, no, that's fair, that's fair. But for us as council, it is really important the outcome is very important, in particular because we are a majority African American community. And so in terms of policing, we want to make certain that policing does look right and fair, and that we are the example in this community. So in terms of accountability, you have people asking, for that type of accountability. So I definitely can say that. But in terms of the particular matter, I can't speak about the details of that matter.
With DeSoto being African American, and you mentioned economic development, developers coming in, you need construction companies to build these developments. What is the percentage of black developers and contractors that come in and work for the city of DeSoto?
That's an excellent question. And so that
You
was
get an A for that one.
you get an A+ for that one. So that was actually one of the first conversations that I walked into in this role, was what does our minority contracting look like in the city of DeSoto? And so there was a little pushback with that, in that we participate in what's called the buy board. And the buy board, it's a collective. It's using our purchasing power wisely. And so, for instance, maybe the city of DeSoto is partnering with the city of Coppell, or the city of Glen Heights, or the city of Cedar Hill to purchase certain things that our community need. Okay. And so with those, I do have questions about, what does our minority contracting look like even with that? And so we do a lot of that type of purchasing with those buy boards. So that's something that I've observed, that I'm looking into. But in terms of how many black contractors or minority contracting firms, let me just say minority contracting firms, that number is small. However, they do seek to make certain that we get up to a certain percentage. With our goal is 20%. So we could be better at it. I would definitely say
Where
that.
you at now?
We're not quite at 20%.
Low, mid-range.
I would say low. And we can get better.
An African American city ran by African Americans can't find African American contractors.
It's not that can't find, so they do have to go through the
The
RFQ.
whole process.
Right, they go through the process, and so those bids do need to come in, and they do need to match, they do need to fit what we're looking for. But in terms of, maybe it's a subcontractor with that one, and often that's where you'll see minority contractors as subcontractors or tier 2 contractors within a larger firm. And so, for instance, the building of our fire station, I believe we have gotten close to the 20% range. I'm not exactly sure what the exact number is, but that's a project that I definitely say, when I heard the numbers, we definitely can be proud of.
In the remaining 3 minutes that we have here, could you tell us why we should vote for you? And we definitely want you to come back on the show.
Okay. I definitely would say, I've been in the seat for 1 year, so that has given me the opportunity to learn my city from a different perspective, not on the outside, but on the inside. And I want to continue to work that I've started. So one of the initiatives that I've started is a cultural and arts plan. One of the things I think our city is great with is its events. Our difference is the things that we can give our community, which are our parks and recs, our sports, as well as our events. And so that's a fund. We use money from our hot fund to fund those things. And I just want us to be a little bit more diligent as far as what that looks like, just to build out how we're using those funds even further, and how we can expand our community and match economic development with our arts and culture, bringing people in so that they can do their shopping and eating, have fun, and then choose to come into our city or to go home. But why should you vote for me? I'm hitting the ground running. I don't have a learning curve anymore. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. There's a lot of business being done in the city of DeSoto. There are a lot of great pursuits and efforts that are being set forth right now in terms of our visioning, our business plan. We talk about that next week. So voting for me would means like we're moving forward with some things that we want to do in our city in terms of economic development, in terms of making certain that our city services are proper and just right. One of the things I made certain to do over this past year, every single month, with the exception of 2 months, I've had a community conference call to give people updates on what's going on in the city. I've had our development services person talk. I've had our water department talk. And so I want to make certain that our citizens know what's going on and how to access our city, how to access the process when they want something done. And so I've done that over this past year.
All right, and the election is when?
The election is May 4th. Early voting is April 22nd through April 30th. And I look forward to seeing you at the polls.
All right, we'll see you guys later next weekend. Next weekend we will have a 1 hour show. We will have Lynn McBee, who is running for Dallas, the city of Dallas mayor. All right, we'll see you guys later. Take care.